Hello, this is Kenneth Vance from Rooftop Videos, and this is on the Sabbath. And I thought I was going to bring up Ezekiel chapter 7. I want to go over the whole chapter, so don't run away if they go, this is too long. But it is integral for these last days. And for those who say this is for Israel of old, you can say what you want to. This is pointing directly at us, and when you hear the words of Ezekiel, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to get right into it, dealing with these last days and what America and the House of Israel, European nations, and everyone else really is going to start enduring. And that is very much imminent. Verse 1 in chapter 7, Moreover, the word of the Elohim came unto me, saying, And you, son of man, thus saith the Elohim Yah to the land of Israel, An end. The end has come upon the four corners of the land. Now the end, he's emphasizing the word end, has come upon you, and I will send my anger against you. And I will judge you according to your ways, and I will repay you for all your abominations. Now he keeps going over the abominations in this whole chapter, and America is full of these abominations. But notice what he says, the end has come. Now, what have I been saying in all my videos? Been saying it very clearly. Dealing with the April 8th eclipse, Amos says the same thing. The end has come upon my people of Israel. And he says here, the four corners of the land, north, east, west, and south. There's your four corners. America is about to be is being judged and will be severely judged. And as many as I'm hearing, and I'm really starting to agree with this is not only imminent, but maybe within days or weeks. It's going to hit, and it's going to hit hard. So I'm going to keep going into this, and let's see what Ezekiel, a prophet of Yah, has to say. Verse 4, My eye will not spare you, nor will I have pity. That's the same thing Amos is saying. The end has come upon my people of Israel. I will turn again to you no more. But I will repay your ways, and your abominations again, shall be in your midst. But what abominations? Then you shall know that I am the Elohim. Now, whenever he says you shall know who I am, that's another way of saying, now you're meeting me face to face and eye to eye. That's his way of saying, now you're going to know who I am. Oh, you didn't believe in me? You're going to believe now, because the world events are going to be so harsh that, oh yeah, everyone who's smug in their ways, don't have time for them, they're wrapped up in the cares of this life. Now you're going to be forced to see who he really is. Thus saith the Elohim Yah, verse 5, a disaster, a singular disaster, behold, it has come. What disaster? Now that's the thing I need you to see. A singular disaster. Now, the way I'm taking this, I could be wrong, I could be in error, and I accept that. This singular disaster sounds to me like a huge event in the last days that's going to kick it off, is what he's talking about. So we have all sorts of guesses. Is it a major cyber attack? Is it the first of the nuclear weapons going off? Or could it be, as some are saying, an earthquake hitting the United States that is so bad that it could very well split this country right in two, and I mean divide it. Now it's being shown, and I'm not going to reference the teacher to you because I tried twice to reach this guy, and all I saw was pure arrogance. And that normally comes from those who, they came out of the churches, that's great, and they know the law's not done away with, that's great too, but his arrogance is he won't come out of error, especially with the crescent moon and all that. So I won't reference him, but those who he's showing me, and others, dealing with the earthquake issue. Now that's not biblical teachers, these are just earthquake watchers and they know what to see. But they're showing that, like over the last month, California, which normally gets them all the time, but over 12,000 tremors. California is more than likely, if not imminently, going to get hit. But so is the same deal, in that manner of sense, in the New Madrid fault zone over where the Mississippi River is. That's where the eclipse went over. So is that going to be it? There's going to be a singular disaster. Something, in other words, something's going to kick it off, because he says, behold, it has come. An end has come. Earlier he said that the end has come. Well, he seemed to show that this disaster is what kicks off the end. It has dawned for you. Now notice how he says that. It has dawned for you. The end has begun in earnest. That's what he's saying. Behold, it has come. Verse 7, doom has come to you, you who dwell in the land. The time has come. A day of trouble is near, a knot of rejoicing in the mountains. Mountains being the high nations. The United States is a chief of the mountains. You go to Micah chapter 4 and see more of that. Now upon you I will soon pour out my fury, and my anger is spent upon you. I will judge you according to your ways, and I will repay you once again for all your abominations. How many abominations is the United States, America, the Babylon, guilty of? We see it every time when the pride flag is waved, right? My eye will not spare, nor will I have pity. And once again, he's emphasizing, I won't have pity. I will repay you according to your ways, and your abominations will be in your midst. He's repeating himself again. Then you will know that I am the Lord who strikes. Behold the day. Behold, it has come. Doom has gone out. Now notice right here what Ezekiel's talking about. The rod has blossomed. Pride has budded. Do we see pride anywhere? I've had people comment to me, and I agree. June, this mega pride, gay pride month. LGBTQSZY, whatever. Pride has budded. And people have forgotten Sodom and Gomorrah. Haven't they? Yeah, pride has budded. Wow, he don't see no God. People are not used to him doing things. But in this whole chapter, he says, now you're going to know who I am. And my anger, after all these years of holding back, now I will show no pity. I gave you all the time in the world, America and everyone else, to get it right and get it straight. And you didn't. Pride has budded. And this right here just instantly makes us think of gay pride, especially with something that I'm about to read when I get down to it, that might strike your interest. Violence has risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain. None of their multitude. None of them. Nor shall there be wailing for them. That's exactly what Amos 8 is saying. He says there will be dead bodies in every place, whether it's the city, the rural area, I'm out in the desert, no matter what country. And he says, and they shall be cast forth with silence, which means to burn bodies. So man, I don't mean to be so doom and gloom, but this here is doom and gloom. And this is a warning. When you can imagine bulldozers plowing piles of bodies to be burned, you're starting to see what's getting ready to happen in America, the Babylon, and everywhere else. Bodies will be burned. You won't be able to bury 2 billion people that are about to die. There's not enough coffins in this world for that, let alone time, manpower, and the ability to dig all these graves. What do you think's going to happen? You want to talk about disease and pestilence? I mean, I hate to say it like this, but what's Earth going to smell like? Especially if it's hitting during this summer. I don't mean to be so gross or grotesque or whatever word you want to use. I'm just being realistic here. What about this violence that has risen up? Well, take a look around you. And it's not just the crime wave. That's bad. It's never been this bad. But violence. And with the these things here that's violence too. What about all the doctors and the nurses who administered them? That's a form of violence. Destroying us. And then these people who are spraying chemtrails to kill us, destroying the fertilizer supplies to cause engineered famine, food processing plants being wiped out, the cows and the chickens being culled, farmlands being shut down, water's being shut off from farmers everywhere now. That's violence. The rod of wickedness. I just read it up here earlier. The rod has blossomed, pride has budded. Well, take a look at the U.S. government. Look how arrogant they are. And sorry about the airplane overhead. I'm outside, but that's the way it goes out here in the roughs. Finally got a none all-out windy day, and I wanted to be outside, so. But he's talking about the pride of America. And by the way, this patriotism we're seeing, that is idolatry, and it is sin. You can't celebrate this nation when it's full of wickedness. You just can't do it. That's pride. That's sin. Verse 12, the time has come. The day draws near. Now notice here, because this is something else I'm going to touch on really shortly. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is on their whole multitude. The buyer or seller is going to be affected. Well, Revelation chapter 17 and 18 says the same thing. No one buys their goods anymore. They should be off America's coast in ships looking at the fire of our burning. No one buys their goods anymore. That's the same thing. He's saying it differently, but it's the same story from Ezekiel's point of view, as he was led to write. For the seller shall not return to what has been sold, though he may still be alive. Notice this, though he may still be alive, for the vision concerns the whole multitude. In other words, nobody's left out. Rich and poor, everybody's affected with what's getting ready to happen, and it could happen any day, literally. For the vision concerns the whole multitude. In other words, everybody, rich and poor. I don't care how much money you got, what fancy home you got, 2 or 3 cars in the driveway, everybody gets it. I need to go over Isaiah chapter 3 at some point and show you what's getting ready to happen. So me, I live out in my old shack out here. People think, well, Kenneth, geez, ugh. Yeah, everyone's going to have a shack. You're not going to be able to take showers. Everyone's going to stink. Your clothes are going to rent. The power grid's going bye-bye. Everything. No money. No trucks are delivering. The seller shall not return to what has been sold. Of course not. And then you got to go into the stores, because with the hordes of hungry people, that's going to be out of control. Do you think truck drivers are going to deliver goods with this on-time delivery system? No. Nope, they're not going to. They pull into Walmart with a truck of food. Here comes the hordes. Yeah. And how are these truckers going to deliver goods when there's no goods? Number 2, the economy's collapsing. Where are they going to get the fuel? And everyone, he says, right here, the vision concerns the whole multitude. No one will strengthen himself who lives in iniquity. 14, they have blown the trumpet and made everyone ready. But no one goes to battle, for my wrath is on all their multitude. Who's blown the trumpet? It's been a whole bunch. It made everyone ready. Is everyone ready? No. But everybody knows these are the last days. But yet they're still wrapped up in the cares of this life. Oh, God will protect me. I'm getting raptured anyway. They're not ready. They're not going to battle either, the churches especially. The churches are ill prepared. They think protection is automatic. Protection is not automatic. I go over and over this. The sword is outside, and the pestilence and famine within. Notice that. Whoever is in the field will die by the sword. In other words, out in the country, city, country, you're better off out in the country than you are in the city. But he says death is still going to be everywhere. So taking your chances away from the city is your best bet. But he says that the sword is outside, the pestilence and famine within. What do you think is going to happen with a lack of food and water? and the grid's down, people ain't showering, they ain't going to be able to. They're not going to go to laundromat or in their homes wash their clothes. You ain't going to be clean, have sweet smelling perfume and nice hair, be all knotted up. Yep, that's coming. And there's going to be pestilence and famine. Yep, there's 2 horses that talks about that, isn't there? Whoever is in the city. Now he says in the field they'll die by the sword, but he says whoever is in the city, famine and pestilence will devour him. He says the whole multitude. Amos says the same thing. There'll be dead bodies in every place, city, country. City or out in the rural or country areas and all that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what country. The whole multitude's going to get it. So whose side do we really want to be on? The world's? The U.S. government? The churches? Those who survive will escape and be on the mountains like doves of the valley, all of them mourning each for his iniquity. I told you there's a travailing coming. Whether you're the righteous or unrighteous, you're going to see that. Boy, people are going to get woke up, and they're going to be coming out of their smug vanity comfort zones because they're living far too soft to be ready for these last days. And I'm pretty much saying it really is pretty much just over. Anytime now. Anytime. Every hand will be feeble and every knee will be weak as water. That includes me as well. When he says every, that means every. We're all in this. It's better to be prepared and a little more secure, but it's still a fearful time. They will also be girded with sackcloth. Horror will cover them. Shame will be on every face, baldness on all their heads. And read Isaiah chapter 3 where he's talking about you're not going to look good, you're not going to have your showers, the grid's down, probably the internet's gone, who knows? Maybe it's cyber text, maybe it's an on and off grid thing. We don't know about that yet. Maybe it's an EMP or a whole bunch. But this is coming. Horror will cover them. So everyone who's living in their smug vanity with prideful look, where pride is budded, back in verse 10, ain't going to be so prideful shortly. Now, here's what I wanted to bring out for those who say, well, invest in gold and silver. It's always there. Gold and silver, and I'm not some economist, or some expert out there who knows all this stuff. I'm really not. But investing in gold and silver when an economy is still running and you have a world economy, okay. But notice what he says here, and this is something to think about. I can't prove it 100%, but think about this. Verse 19, they will throw their silver into the streets and their gold to be like refuse. Their silver and gold will not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Elam. So how is that for Israel of old? These are the days of his wrath. They will not satisfy their souls, nor fill their stomachs, because it became their stumbling block of iniquity. Now he says your silver and your gold will not be able to deliver them. They'll throw them in the streets. Is he talking about literal silver and gold, or just your stocks, your bonds, your U.S. currency or British currency or whatever? We could take it both ways, but it seems to me like not even silver and gold is going to deliver. And you say, well, that's not true. Well, he says they will not satisfy their souls. In other words, they invested in that versus tangible goods. Like this is a tangible good. I mean, what am I supposed to do with a gold coin and I got to buy something? Take a knife and cut off a few flakes? How are you supposed to spend it? Is everything going to be a $5,000 purchase? Let's get real here. We're talking about a world condition where everything is not normal anymore. Everything is offset and not going the normal way. He's telling us the silver and gold is no good even. I mean, what's it going to do anyway? Do you think the farms are going to be, everything's going to be running? They're going to be picking fruit, delivering and everything's on time. You go to Walmart, the store shelves are full. No, because back here, the seller shall not return to what has been sold or to where it has been sold. Why? The stores are useless. Let's read that again. For the seller shall not return to what has been sold, though he may still be alive. The stores are going to be worthless, and they're going to be ransacked, looted. They're going to form warlord gangs probably in these streets with all these trash people on the street. And once they're done raking everything out of the cities and they've taken all that, they're going to go to the suburbs and further and further out, killing and to be killed and taking what they want from home to home. This is going to happen. The cities are the first to get the worst of it. Verse 20, now here's the regular King James Version says ornament. This says ornaments, plural. So I have an issue with that. Let's see if you could catch this. As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it. Now notice that. Now notice it might be a mistranslation, maybe not. It says here, as for the beauty of his ornaments here in this a new King James Version. My other Bible can't use it anymore. It's worn out. I can't even read it anymore. But it says, as for the beauty of his ornaments, but then the next verse, not verse, but words, he set it in majesty. Plural than singular. So yeah, that's not to argue about. But what ornament is he talking about? He set it in majesty. What ornament? Well, back here, it says pride has budded. The gay pride and all that. Is he talking about the rainbow? That came with the first end of the world with Noah's flood. What have they done to the rainbow? They defiled it by making it the gay pride. But they made from it the images of their abominations and their detestable things. Therefore I have made it like refuse to them. He's talking right here, one of his ornaments, and it's got to be the rainbow. They made from it the images of their abominations. The gay pride, transgender story hour, marching in the streets, men or women or men, cutting off the genitals of the children. Yeah, gay pride, using the rainbow to advertise their abominations and their wickedness. I will give it as plunder into the hand. Sorry about that, the wind blew down the phone. I'll go back over. As I said here, verse 21, I will give it as plunder into the hands of strangers. All these illegal aliens, they're being made the head and we're the tail. For robbers shall enter it and defile it. They're going to take over the homes. They're going to get it all. And they're getting it all now. They're coming in and getting the free phones, free money, staying in expensive places. They can commit crimes and get away with it, and we go to jail. But notice what he says here. Make a chain, for the land is filled with crimes of blood, and the city is full of violence. There's a city. Therefore, I will bring the worst of the Gentiles. Is that also a reference to these terrorist sleeper cells? Now notice what he says. Here's your people coming in, and they will possess their houses. What did I just tell you? Well, Ezekiel said it. They're going to take over the homes. They're going to get it all. You heard that right. They're going to take over the homes. And I will cause the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. Churches, this is pointing directly at you. You Christians out there. A lot of you have 2-3 cars in your driveway. You seem to have everything all together. Well, you're, for most, I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying the most of churchianity doesn't go through the works of the cross. But yet they think they're blessed. while observing pagan holidays, throwing the Torah law into the trash and whatever else that the churches are doing, false doctrine of every manner. Their pomp is going to be brought down. Where they look good today, they won't look so good tomorrow. Little old ugly fools like me won't look quite so bad when it gets reversed. And their holy places, their churches especially, will be defiled by who? Well, the plunder of these strangers coming across the land to start with. Do you think all these people coming across the border has our best interests at heart? No. Destruction comes, they will seek peace, but there shall be none. That's exactly what Revelation 18 or just chapter 17 says. Where America, the Babylon, I sit as a queen. In other words, America thinks it's married to Emmanuel the king, and I'm not a widow. America doesn't know it's divorcing the king, and shall see no sorrow. America thinks it's not going to fall. Oh, yes, it does. Disaster will come. They will seek peace, there should be none. Disaster will come upon disaster, and rumor will be upon rumor. In other words, once, as earlier spoken in this chapter, once the initial disaster starts, it doesn't stop. So let me go back. Let's go right back here. Verse 5, a disaster, a singular disaster, behold, it has come, an end is come. A singular disaster will kick it off, but yet after that there'll be one disaster right after the other, one thing right after the other, non-stop like dominoes. And rumor will be upon rumor. Then they will seek a vision from a prophet, but the law will perish from the priests and counsel from the elders. Amos is illustrating the same thing after the April 8th eclipse, as there will be a famine of preaching coming. And earlier I just showed you their holy places shall be defiled. The Christianity that sits so high and smug in their pomp here is going to be brought down. That's exactly what it's saying. Yeah, they'll seek a vision, they won't get it. And these church pastors, how are they going to explain that the rapture didn't happen? Boy, they're going to look like fools and be hated then, really. The king will mourn, the prince will be clothed with desolation, and the hands of the common people will tremble. I will do to them according to their way, and according to what they deserve, I will judge them. That's rewarding according to our works. Then, it finishes the chapter off, then they shall know that I am the Elohim. This whole chapter is doom and gloom, and exactly what America and the rest of the world's getting ready to endure. People may say, oh, Kenneth, no way. I'm telling you, oh, yes way. This is exactly what is coming. And it will happen. In fact, some of it is already trickling through, but all it takes is one singular disaster. It's shown here. Well, what's that going to be? Because this is exactly what he says. A disaster, a singular disaster. Something kicks it all off, and then later in the chapter, disaster upon disaster. So something initially kicks it all off, and from that, it just doesn't stop. It won't stop. So for those who think that the Father in heaven is going to start his judgments, take a break, and then pick it back up later, you're out there in la-la land. America's not going to be restored. We're not going to take America back. We're under judgment. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. It's going to finish up till everything is complete. And that's exactly what Ezekiel's illustrating. So I thought I'd bring this up on the Sabbath. Because people, there's a move on our side that's got to happen at some point too. And we have to come out. We got to come out whenever and however the time comes. That, there are many who are anxiously awaiting. I'm on top of the list. And I teach things that the church don't teach. And they definitely wouldn't have even read to you this chapter. This is all blood and guts God. He doesn't exist, and he's a New Testament.